Based in share RPF. 1993, Habyarimana signed the Arusha Peace Accords, although hardline members of his own boosted. RPF agreed to Paul Kagame table, but they only were a minority.
We were told the country was being attacked by Uganda. They were killing lots. People started to get scared of the RPF, fearing for the future.
They
felt that they were not going to take power through the... And I think by the end of 1993, the RPF had decided it was going to take power by the bullet.
Despite the peace talks, Kigali was on edge. There were political murders on both sides. Kagame was talking peace, but it's now alleged he was preparing for war.
Within the RPF circles, they knew that the Arusha peace agreement was not going to work, but the RPF had succeeded in infiltrating close to 2,000 military officers and men, and had infiltrated lots of arms across the country.
On April 6, 1994, President Habyarimana was returning to Kigali from a summit. With him was the chief of the army and the new president of Burundi.
Greenwich Mean Time. The presidents of Rwanda and Burundi in Central Africa have been killed in a plane crash. The circumstances are unclear. Rwandan officials was shot down.
Including the French, was killed. The peace accord was dead. Within hours, units of Hutu soldiers were on the rampage. It is widely accepted that the plane crash was the trigger for the genocide, the killing of 1 million people in 3 months. But who pulled the trigger and what was their motive? In France, I met a former bodyguard of Paul Kagame's, now in hiding. Alois Rienzi claims he was in a meeting with his boss, and the plane was shot down.
President Kagame chaired a meeting in which Colonel Lazindi brought him a map showing where the plane could be shot down from. The president approved the plan to be implemented.
Rienzi says the RPF smuggled anti-aircraft missiles into the capital, and that he was with Kagame when they heard the plane had been shot down.
It was around 8 p.m. on the 6th of April. Some soldiers are watching football, including Kagame.
What was his reaction when he was told about the plane?
Kagame was happy. The other commanders were happy too. From that moment, we started to move.
For Kagame and the RPF, the plane crash was an opportunity to restart a full-scale war and seize power, and some UN officers knew it. 10 years later, a French judge investigated the deaths of the plane crew. He concluded Paul Kagame and the RPF were responsible and indicted 9 officers. Paul Kagame declined to be interviewed for this program, but he's always denied shooting down the plane, and his government's report concluded Hutu extremists were responsible.
If RPF had been responsible for Habyarimana, they would have taken responsibility for it. And even now, I have no problem saying I'm not apologetic that Habyarimana died. To be honest, I don't care. France says that, I don't give a damn.
That is Kagame.
General Nyamwasa is one of the RPF officers indicted by the French judge. Who do you believe was behind the shooting down of the plane?
No, Paul Kagame, undoubtedly.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
You know that? Were you at meetings when it was discussed?
So where I know the position to know, I was in the position to know, and he knows that.
What if President Habyarimana had not died? in those types of circumstances, I do not think that there would have been the genocide as we know it.
Exactly.
I think Kagame and the RPF bear responsibility. They are a factor in what happened in Rwanda thereafter.
Exactly.
But Paul Kagame also should accept that while all that was going on, he was also having his own plans that also contributed to what took place.
Contributed to the genocide.
Oh, yes.
That
Because
is
if you know
Kayumba.
that this is a dry season and you just strike a match and put it on the grass, do you expect that not to burn?
Paul Kagame, his ability to stay in power, his ability to hold on to that country depends on all of us believing that he was the one that saved Rwanda, invading and conquering Rwanda.
The UN knew Kagame's RPF forces were killing Hutu civilians. Their survey of Hutu refugees found 30,000, between 5,000 and 10,000 a month, had been systematically killed in just a third of the country. But the UN considered the report too sensitive for publication.
If 1 million people died in Rwanda in 1994, and that's certainly possible, there is no way that the majority of them could be Tutsi.
How do you know that?
Because there weren't enough Tutsi in the country.
The academics calculated there had been 500,000 Tutsis before the conflict in Rwanda. 300,000 survived. This led them to their final controversial conclusion.
If 1 million Rwandans died and 200,000 of them were Tutsi, that means 800,000 of them were Hutu.
That's completely the opposite of what the world believes happened in the Rwandan genocide.
What the world believes and what actually happened are quite different.
The RPF took over a shattered country. It was officially a coalition government, but in reality the Tutsis were in power and Paul Kagame was pulling the strings. The killing didn't stop. A year after the genocide, 100,000 displaced people were crammed in a camp at Kigali, southern Rwanda. These Hutus were afraid of retribution. The new government couldn't get them to go back to their villages. RPF troops surrounding the camp opened fire. A camera caught part of the attack. It was all witnessed by United Nations peacekeepers, including one British officer.
I saw one woman quite obviously reacting to a shout. She stopped, she turned, she put her hands high in the air. I took my eyes off her for a moment as an RPF soldier walked towards her. He carried on walking and ultimately he shot her and she fell dead where she tried to surrender.
Paul Kagame came to Kibeho, but his government would only admit 338 refugees had been killed. The official UN death toll was 2,000, but UN medics counted nearly 5,000 people massacred here.
Okay. Ensonga tuziwulidde Lukwago zoziwulidde. Ezimu ku ze tusiba tubagamba wano bakugamba baali emitwalo 5 bonna before the genocide. Ng'abatuusi abaawona baabala emitwalo 3 egy'abatuusi. Okay? Baafiirwa miliyoni oba emitwalo 8 egy'abantu mu Rwanda. Kagame ne banne batuusi banne. It is genocide against Rwanda.
Abahutu batta abatuusi. Nze ndikawo nawo nkimanyi ge mazima naye babata lwaki naye ng'abahutu batta abatuusi.
Teriyo kaawona wayogeranga ggwe.
Sebo toyogera tolaba nti mmwe temugenda na kusola kweko.
Teriyo kaawonawo ayinza
kwogera naawe.
Ulidde toli kaawonawo teriyo kaawonawo ayogeranga ggwe taliyo kaawonawo alina okusooka okukkiriza bw'aba
kati gwe Museveni nga tanakutta musiru gwe
tolaba okiraba olaba
ekibuuzo wano nti abahutu si be basita abatuusi kye bawakanya
beewuliridde everyday wulidde twala okay emitwalo 3 gyawona kakati bw'ebeera genocide against Tutsi kikyamu bw'eba genocide standard muba batuufu awo wetuli tetuwakana genocide teyaliiwo niye ogamba genocide against Tutsi okay ekyo kiba kikyamu bakulaze
what sparked genocide
ez'abahutu bwakyanga ku makyanga mulimu mu mwezi gumu ng'abantu emitwalo 3 egy'abahutu gittiddwa mu camp ez'abarefugee.
What sparked genocide?
Okay, kyogamba abahutu bebettamu
kyekyaleeta genocide kyolina osooka n'omanya ate n'otandika
wadde towuliriza bakyogedde nga ne Kanyumba Nyamwasa akiwitnessinga waliwo n'omwami omulala simanyira naye muhutu manya mutuusi
ekyasparkinga genocide kwali kuba nnyonyi ya Habyarimana omuhutu
ate kati ku rekodi egy'obadde owuliriza Kagame Kanyumba Nyamwasa
naye eyo nga public knowledge nga teyeetaaga discussion.
Kagame yateesa okukuba ennyonyi eyo eya Habyarimana ne direction egy'okkubirwa era
yakiwakanya
mu vidiyo eno bakugamba nti babuuza eyewitness eyaliwo ng'ali ne Bakagame
ani akiwakanya naye bakuba ani akiwakanya
wabadde wano omulo agamba
obeera oyogera simanyi wewuliza mu background osigala oyogera naye teri akiwakanya nti RPF yakuba ennyonyi ya Habyarimana naye kiki ekyagikuya
naye nga enterahamwe zatta abatuusi
anti bwe bamala okuba Habyarimana abahutu ne basituka ne baagala okwesasuza obatuusa okutta omuntu waabwe pulezidenti waabwe mu kwesasuza ne bakwata amajambiya waliwo akiwakanya ekyo
nkiwakanya ekyo tukiwakanya tulina
kitwale nga bwe walaba ekyatuuka ku Itojo
nti amajambiya g'oyogerako on record gava Uganda
olutalo osobola osirika n'enkuwa version
kyogamba mizaire yakuba ennyonyi baategeka okuba ennyonyi nga tebamanyi kigenda sparkinga era Nyamwasa akugamba nti tosobola kulaba nti sooka ononye ekiwali wakuyise tewali wakuyise mukwano Kayumba Nyamwasa akugamba nti tosobola kulaba mu dry season ng'olwedde olaba dry season waliwo dry season
amakulu gakyo
tosobola kugamba genocide nti abahutu be bakola genocide nga gwe wakuba ennyonyi nottiramu bapresidents babiri abahutu
then ani akiwakanya nze tuli mu kudiscussing nga tewali abiwakanya oba oli kuki